We talked a lot about it last week after the game. Can't win in this league, can't score touchdowns. The Jets have now gone 36 consecutive drives. Think about that for a second. 36 consecutive drives without scoring a touchdown. They have not scored a touchdown since the first quarter against the Giants, and ultimately a game that they really should have won on paper. And the way this started, they lose again 16-12. Zach Wilson had been really good at one thing, and that had been not throwing interceptions. But, guys, let's start with the killer interception that he threw with just under a minute and a half to go in the red zone. The Jets down 4, driving to take the lead.
It's frustrating, man. The penalties is one thing. I think, how would I describe Zach? Was it perfect? No. Was he scrappy? Yes. And at the end of the day, you look at this interception, man. He's just looking down at Lazard. And the Spleen is a savvy, crafty linebacker. This guy's been in the league a long time. And it was just a hell of a play on the ball that kind of went to the house. So, it's tough, man, because I know Zach, for the most part, like I said, he wasn't great, but he wasn't awful. Like, it wasn't clearly him today. It was clearly that the offensive line at times was spotty, receiving core was spotty at times. So, this is a tough one.
Yeah, on that play specifically, I mean, he didn't hold the linebacker, which is, you just want your young quarterback to start to pick that up, and it's an unfortunate way to end the drive and end their chances. But for me with the Jets, it's kind of become the same thing. When they get across the 50, they have an opportunity, right? Whether the offense gets them there, whether the defense gets them a turnover, however they do it, they always seem to then have a penalty that sets them back and kills the drive every single time, or some kind of play that completely kills the drive. And that's how they end up in field goal. And that's when you look at the game being 9-3. We all talked about it during the game. If they go up and it's 13-3 or it's 21-3, you're in the driver's seat where Aiden O'Connell has to start attacking your secondary, and your pass rush is going to have the ability to pin their ears back and go. But the Jets never dictate the game. And this isn't something they did against the Eagles when they won. It's not something they really did against the Broncos, to be honest with you. That might be the closest example. They didn't do it against the Bills where they didn't have a lead. When they win games, forget losing. Losing, obviously, you're not controlling the game. Right. When the Jets win games, they never dictate the flow of the game. And the Jets team is built on the front four getting home when you are taking deep drops and passing. But the offense never, ever affords them that opportunity. So the Jets built a team where they can't play the style that makes sense to the roster. And that's how they got here right now.
Yeah, when you look at that last play, that's like football 101. Bunch route, 4-7-3. They get to 7, then they're looking for the guy to sit down. Lazard came with a lazy route. He got bumped off, and he didn't come back to the ball. And as an inside linebacker, all I'm waiting to see is which route out of these bunch routes are sitting down. And the fact that it's set down, the kid made a play. He's not a rookie. He's a veteran player. Mm-hmm. He understands that out of the bunch, somebody's sitting down and most likely going to the stick. So, that's just bad football. But then, Zach threw the ball where he's supposed to go. But if I'm a receiver, you got to come back. That got to be a route where you come back and snap back. It can't be a lazy, rounded out, sitting. He's waiting for the ball to come. You got to go attack the ball. When it's a comeback or something like that, you have to attack the ball. You can't just sit there. It's guys sitting in zones reading the quarterback eyes. Zach doesn't have time to go over here and then come back. It's a 4-7-3. If this comes down, if the 7 up at the top, for people don't know, you're running, a vertical route to clear out. The bunch route is coming to sit down, but the 7 route is running towards the pylon, against the safety, because a lot of times the safety is going to have inside leverage, and then when you run it, he's going to be on your back. They just don't do anything well, right? They're undisciplined. They turn the ball over. They don't run well, the ball, effectively. I feel like later, because there's so much pressure on the defense, that you're under so much stress not to give up anything that you end up giving up stuff because you're pressing. Then what happens is they start getting bullied up, right? This team is built to play with a lead, but it never gets a lead. So then you look at these little light guys in the inside, they start seeing Jermaine Johnson appear to say, all right, we're going to double and run straight downhill. And Josh Jacobs, who's one of the better backs and more physical backs in the game, just start leaning on these guys. And it wasn't something like, he's busting for 10, 20 yards or anything like that. 4 yards, that's a win. Another 4 yards, that's a win. You talk about, what was symbolic was when all the linemen came when he was stopped and they physically pushed him past for another 4 to 5 yards. So listen, I know it's our job to talk about the game. I can't wait to get in their face and see what they got to say about it, because now they're explaining it away and the season is slipping away from them. And they only have themselves to feel, to blame about the season slipping away the same way it did last year, because they played just good enough not to lose by a lot, But who cares? This ain't horseshoes. It doesn't matter how close you lose by. You losing. And you losing to an opponent that you should be better than, right? If you want to be a playoff team, I don't care if Aaron Rodgers is out there or not. They got a backup quarterback, a rookie quarterback with an interim head coach. He just came and you just lost to that team. So you don't deserve to call yourself a playoff team. You need to just shut up and just go out and then surprise us and pick your head out the sand and say, okay, we have an opportunity. But we don't want to hear from y'all. We don't want to hear what you got to say. We don't want to hear your excuses. We don't want to hear your generic, oh, I'm sitting here, this is what we got to do. We got to be better, and we got to turn the ball over. Oh, duh, we already know that.
Well, I think the